Hello, fangirls and NFL fans everywhere. This is Tracy Sandler, and welcome to this week's edition of Talking Touchdowns NFL Championship Edition. Woo! We are one step closer to the Super Bowl. All right, everybody, let's take a quick look at what happened in the divisional matchup. Starting in the AFC with the Patriots and the Titans, this was the least interesting matchup of the weekend. The Titans started off strong, but after a few crushing and very questionable penalties, the Patriots picked them apart. Tom Brady and company are moving on. Next up in the AFC, we had Pittsburgh taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars dominated early with takeaways and the running of Leonard Fournette. They took a 21-0 lead, but Big Ben and the Steelers would not go away quietly. They were able to get it to 28-21, but Blake Bortles was just too much. Were those words you ever thought you would hear in your entire life? Probably not. The Philadelphia Eagles took on the Atlanta Falcons, and with a goal line stand and 3 Jake Elliott field goals, stopped Matt Ryan and the Falcons, beating them 15-10. And last but certainly not least was the game of the weekend, as it was touted to be the Saints versus the Vikings. Drew Brees and company went to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in their #1 ranked defense. This was very much a tale of two halves. The Vikings jumped out to a 17-0 lead. It looked like they were going to run away with it, but there were 4 lead changes in the last 3 minutes of the game, but the final one coming on a 61-yard touchdown pass from Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs, and they're looking to hashtag bring it home for the Super Bowl. So that brings us to this weekend's matchups. It is championship weekend, ladies. Woo! The matchups are set. We are down to 4 teams. And so this is what's very interesting about the weekend's matchups. We have 3 journeyman quarterbacks, 3 dominant defenses. Then we have probably the greatest quarterback coaching duo of all time and an okay defense. A very interesting weekend of football. We may see guards change. We're going to see a lot of newness. So let's get talking about it. Now, I'm sure the Patriots are not concerned about Tom Coughlin and an elite defense and running game and inconsistent quarterback. She said with sarcasm, because please see Super Bowls 42 and 45. Ivana?
New England is a football institution that's led by the greatest the greatest QB and coach pairing of all time. And they're going against a very inexperienced Jaguars. You know what I mean? Tom Brady's going to be at home, and Tom Brady has more playoff wins at home with 18 than any other QB has playoff wins overall. So turnovers will be key, and they have to make Tom Brady super uncomfortable. The Jaguars have scored 9 defensive touchdowns this season. That's the most touchdowns scored by a defense since the Bears in 2012. So I don't know. In my heart, I want the Jags just because, I want the underdog. But in my head, if anyone who's smart, they know that Pats will take this home and they're going to kill.
Well, you have to take a look of the strength of this Jaguars defense, which, by the way, happens on the outsides with cornerbacks Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye. They have this dominant defense coming in against this prolific offense who has done great things.
100%. I mean, is Blake Bortles going to Bortle? That is the big question. And I think the other thing to consider with the Jaguars, which could put a wrinkle in the entire thing, is the health of Leonard Fournette. Right. He had an ankle injury the other day, and if Blake Bortles is at all inconsistent, they're really going to rely on that run game, so that is going to be very important. That being said, I'm having trouble with this prediction. I just feel like you can never count out Tom Brady.
I would like to see Jacksonville take the win. I'd like to see a new team in the Super Bowl. And like you said, Leonard Fournette, that's a big question there. How healthy is he going to be?
Tom Brady is the Michael Jordan of football. And I don't go against Michael Jordan. He's still #1. So I'm going to give it to the Patriots. I want to win.
You mentioned it earlier. The Patriots have an average defense this year. The Jags have a dominant defense, but they also have a lot of offensive weapons. So even though they have had to rely a lot on their run game, and Blake Bortles has been not so great and not so consistent during the regular season, he has played very well in the postseason. This last game, he played exceptionally well. So I think that if Blake can ride this high, keep going, focus eyes on the prize, I'd say the Jags are going to take it home.
All right, so we will see who wins that one. It'll be a very interesting day in Foxborough. And now we head to Philly, the city of brotherly love, but I don't think we're going to see much love between the Eagles and the Vikings. This should be a pretty incredible matchup. Now, Philadelphia is the #1 seed. You actually have the two top seeds playing each other. Philly, #1 seed, have the home field advantage, but they open the game as 3-point underdogs. As we talked a lot about last week, the lack of Carson Wentz is the reason for that. But you cannot count out Nick Foles. Nick Foles versus Case Keenum, obviously, as every championship game predictor thought, these would be the two quarterbacks. These are two quarterbacks that did not start the season as starters. They are both backups. So this should be a very interesting, if not very cold, game. Christina, please tell us more.
Well, you say you can't count out Nick Foles, but however, this guy is 0-2 against Mike Zimmer coached teams.
I actually think there's a very good chance that Minnesota just kind of runs away with this game.
Yes, I agree. And
I mean, I think that Minnesota definitely, there's no denying that they have a strong defense. Case Keenum has come out here and made a name for himself. I think that the Eagles are a great team regardless of Carson Wentz. I think they've got some really good targets. Nick Foles does, at least with A.J. Ajayi, him running that ball. I mean, he's really got that oomph in him, and you can see that these guys, regardless of Carson Wentz, are a good football team.
I'm still giving it to the Vikings. Yeah, I think that I just think they're a little bit of a team of destiny. I think when a play like that happens, sometimes there is just kind of a team of destiny in the NFL. So I'm going Minnesota.
I'm again going to hope for the underdogs. I'm hoping for the Eagles.
I think home field is the only advantage that the Eagles have, and I think the Vikings have a little angel on their shoulder in this whole thing. So I'm going with the Vikings.
I agree. I'm taking the Vikings as well. We didn't mention earlier, but time of possession will be key in this game. And the Eagles and Vikings are ranked #1 and #2 respectively in that category.
It'd be interesting if we had the Jaguars and the Vikings, the #1 and like two top defenses in the NFL playing each other. That would be pretty incredible. Here is a fun fact, ladies. 3 of the 4 teams at championship games have never won a Super Bowl. The Jaguars have actually never been to a Super Bowl. The Vikings and the Eagles have 6 Super Bowl losses between them. The Patriots have 5 Super Bowl wins. It's just a lot of numbers flying around. I don't know that they mean anything at all, but I like numbers and fun facts, so I threw them in. So, very interesting championship weekend. Join us next week and we will be talking Super Bowl. It's finally here, almost. Yay! Can the Vikings #bring it home? We shall see. Later, skaters.